In the journey of life, there are moments when the world seems to close in, when the weight of sorrow and uncertainty presses down with unbearable force. We all face times when hope feels distant, when pain overshadows joy, and when the future looks uncertain. It is in these darkest hours, when we feel most alone, that the quiet presence of the divine can be felt most profoundly. Even when everything seems to fall apart, God is there, steady, constant, and unwavering. During our worst moments, it's easy to question why suffering exists, or to wonder if anyone, let alone a higher power, is aware of our pain. The silence can feel deafening, and prayers may seem to go unanswered. Yet throughout history and in countless personal stories, there is a recurring truth. In the depths of our despair, God's presence becomes most real. Not always in miraculous interventions or dramatic rescues, but in the subtle, gentle ways that give us the strength to endure. Consider the times when you felt broken, when loss or failure seemed insurmountable. Perhaps it was the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, a betrayal, or a personal failure. In those moments, you may have felt abandoned, left to face the storm alone. But often, looking back, you can see the signs of grace, the unexpected comfort from a friend, the inner resilience you didn't know you had, or the small, quiet moments of peace amid chaos. These are not coincidences. They are reminders that God is near, walking beside you, even when you can't see Him. God's presence in our suffering does not always mean the pain will vanish. Sometimes the path through hardship is the very place where we encounter the divine most intimately. It's in the struggle that we learn to trust, to let go of what we cannot control, and to discover a deeper sense of purpose. The Psalms speak to this truth, with verses that cry out in anguish yet ultimately affirm that God is a refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. When life's storms rage and the night feels endless, remember that you are not alone. God is there, not just watching from a distance, but holding you close, even if you cannot feel it in the moment. The promise is not that we will be spared from hardship, but that we will never be abandoned in it. In Isaiah, we are reminded, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you." The assurance is not of a life without pain, but of a presence that sustains us through it. Sometimes, God's presence is revealed in the kindness of others, in the words of encouragement from a friend, or in the quiet moments of reflection when peace settles unexpectedly in your heart. Other times, it's the inner strength that carries you one more day, the hope that flickers even in the darkness. These are the fingerprints of the divine, gentle reminders that you are seen, known, and loved. So, in your worst moments, do not lose hope. Even if you cannot see the way forward, even if the pain feels overwhelming, trust that God is there. He is the anchor in the storm, the light in the darkness, and the love that never lets go. Your suffering is not unnoticed, and your tears are not in vain. With every trial, there is grace. With every sorrow, there is comfort. You are never truly alone, for God is always there, especially in your worst moments. Sometimes in life, we find ourselves on our knees, hearts full of hope, voices trembling with longing, as we ask God for something we deeply desire. It might be a new opportunity, healing from an illness, the restoration of a broken relationship, or simply a sign that we're on the right path. We wait, sometimes with patience, sometimes with desperation, for an answer. And then, the answer comes, not as a resounding yes, not as a miraculous intervention, but as a quiet, unmistakable no. Hearing no from God is never easy. It can feel like a door slamming shut, a dream slipping through our fingers. We might wonder if we prayed the wrong way, or if we weren't faithful enough. We might question why a loving God would deny something that seems good, something that feels so right to us. In those moments, it's easy to feel alone, disappointed, or even abandoned. But what if God's no is not a rejection, but a redirection? Throughout history, countless people have faced closed doors and unanswered prayers, only to discover in time that there was a greater purpose at work. Sometimes, what we ask for is not what we truly need. Sometimes, what we think is best for us is not what will help us grow, heal, or flourish. God, in infinite wisdom, sees the bigger picture, one that stretches far beyond our present circumstances. Consider the story of Moses. He led the Israelites out of Egypt, through the wilderness, and right to the edge of the promised land. Yet after all his faithfulness and sacrifice, God told Moses he would not enter that land himself. It was a heartbreaking no, but it was not the end of Moses' story. His legacy continued through the people he led, and his faithfulness was honored for generations. Or think of the Apostle Paul, who pleaded with God to remove a thorn in his flesh. God's answer was not to take the pain away, but to say, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." In that no, Paul found a deeper strength and a more profound understanding of grace. When God says no, it can be an invitation to trust more deeply, to let go of our own plans, and to open our hearts to something new. It's a chance to remember that our worth is not measured by what we receive, but by how we respond to life's challenges. It's an opportunity to grow in patience, resilience, and faith. Sometimes, the no we hear today leads us to a yes we never could have imagined. The job we didn't get opens the door to a calling we never expected. The relationship that ended makes room for healing and new beginnings. The path we thought was lost leads us to a place of peace we didn't know existed. In the end, God's no is not the end of the story. It's a part of a journey that is still unfolding, a journey guided by love, wisdom, and grace. When we face disappointment, we can choose to trust that there is meaning in the waiting, purpose in the pain, and hope beyond the closed doors. So when you hear God say no, remember, it's not a sign that you are forgotten or unloved. It's a sign that you are being guided, protected, and prepared for something greater. Trust the process, hold on to faith, and know that sometimes the greatest blessings come not from the answers we want, but from the ones we never expected.